Everyone's been enjoying the playoffs, and the action seems to be getting better and better with every passing game. At the same time, though, the game's being ruined by some terrible officiating issues, and something needs to be done about that because the entertainment of the NBA is at risk. We take a look at what has gone wrong and who is to blame for the mess. The referee problem. Most people would argue that the playoffs are getting affected mostly by the referees making poor decisions that are leading to a terrible viewing experience for the fans too. Nobody wants to see referees and officials stealing the limelight of the games by making headlines with controversial decisions. Fans have to contend with Steve Yavi, the former official, coming on screen explaining why a call was or wasn't going to be overturned instead of watching their teams in action. It's a common and annoying theme for fans. Coaches too tend to spend a large part of their post-match interviews complaining about the refereeing standards. While there are lots of stoppages in the game anyway, they are not helped when officials are huddled around a replay monitor and end up ejecting a crucial player in the second quarter of an offense that wasn't clear. No, we're not GSW fans. We're just fed up with the officiating standard in the league and we want something done about it. There's definitely an officiating problem, and officials have to take the blame for most of the decisions. After all, you can't officiate a basketball game at this level from the rule book, as we'd simply miss out on all the good action that makes our game so beautiful. Most decisions are subjective. We get that, and they're down to the interpretation of the referees. But the focus of basketball discourse should remain about the product on the court, not on officiating decisions. And yes, we get how ironic this video might end up becoming, but we're fighting the good war. The league problem. Another take on the league's growing issue with officials and the refereeing decisions involves holding the NBA accountable. This one in particular explains a lot more of the issues that stem from the league and not necessarily from the officials themselves. As we pointed out earlier, officiating this sport isn't a straightforward task. It's subjective, and that in itself means inviting controversy because the losing team will almost never agree with a decision. If the refs truly apply the rule book, then we won't see players producing top-class moments because many would be ruled out due to some sort of foul. But the problem isn't with the referees and their subjective decisions. The problem's a lot deeper because if we've counted correctly, there are nearly 16 situations that trigger a review replay. When the instant replay was implemented, it was a fantastic decision, but the tactical and psychological issue has only grown as the NBA's gotten so much more into the complexities of the game, like using the replay review to judge whether a common foul enters the realm of what's considered hostile, and this pursuit of finding hostility in each foul isn't more reasonable than trying to draw dignity. Of course, we all want the game to be fair, and that's why the majority was in favor of instant replay when it came out, almost 20 years ago. But now it's being used for psychological benefits, and we take a look at an example of this. Remember Giannis's foul on Grant Williams in Game 3's first quarter? For some bizarre reason, Milwaukee's coach, Mike Budenholzer, challenged this call. As per the commentators, it was simply due to plant doubt in the minds of the referees for future calls. Referee-obsessed telecasts. This is our official complaint on the behalf of many other NBA fans that tune into action regularly, and we're presented with a flawed product. The NBA should not forget that the biggest reason behind its success is the fans, and if they continue to hamper the entertainment provided by the NBA, fans will lose interest in it. Nobody wants to watch hour-long telecasts of analysts ripping into refereeing decisions and blaming them for everything. Again, we're not saying referees are saints, but it's important to call a spade, and you don't do that by making officials the scapegoat. God knows there are enough stoppages in the games anyways, and when you add the number of opportunities each side is presented with to stop the game, you ruin the game a little more. Ask yourself, honestly, if you want to watch a deliberately frivolous replay review in the early quarters of a playoff game? Of course you don't. Blown calls are a part of the game. We get it, but we shouldn't have to sit around watching the referees watch television for 15 minutes in every game. It's just unfair on the audience, and teams are getting away with so much as they can break momentum by challenging calls that they know will be unsuccessful. Honestly, we don't want to discuss Scott Foster as if he's more interesting than John Morant. What's the solution? Welcome to our rant without a solution. It's not because we don't have one, we do, but there's a good chance that such a solution won't be implemented because the NBA would much rather stick with a broken model of entertainment than swallow the bitter pill of being wrong. The problem is about this perception of naive fairness that we associate with the sport. No one can be completely impartial in their decision-making, especially not the refs, and this isn't to say that they've paid or have allegiances to one franchise or the other. It's simply because the game is subjective and you need subjective decisions in real time. There will always be space for debate and argument, and that's fine. It's a free country. But don't overdo it. You're ruining the sport. The NBA could implement a stiffer penalty than just a lost timeout for an unsuccessful challenge. That would definitely make the coaches use their reviews more efficiently. Maybe the refs could assess things like flagrant fouls in real time rather than having to make decisions after dutifully parsing video footage. Either way, something needs to be done about it. Other related news. Notorious NBA referee to miss Bucks Celtics Game 6. This headline is exactly our point. We miss the era when people would get called out for being nerds if they even knew the names of the opposing teams. No, we're not promoting bullies, but sadly it's so crazy that now fans even know who's refereeing the games and what kind of record he has. That's no issue with being excited and digging out information regarding the game, but this obsession over referees is getting out of hand. Apparently the Celtics fans lost hope that Scott Foster won't be calling their Game 6 against the Bucks because his presence boosts the chances of the trailing sides. We do believe in jinxes and we do believe in lucky charms. However, these statistical anomalies of Foster having a better record of trailing sides is part of a deeper issue where the officials seem to get more hype than the game itself. He's even been given the nickname of Extender, as he manages to extend the playoff series because the trailing sides win the game. The whole point of a referee is to seamlessly oversee the action, not make it about himself. Even if he does that, the media will make sure they find some sort of connection and statistics, and this proves our point because the Celtics did beat the Bucks in Game 6, even though Scott Foster missed the game. And no, the Suns fans should not fear what this could mean for their series finale. We know that Chris Paul is winless in playoff games officiated by Scott Foster, and if by some chance they do lose the series finale, they should not blame Foster, but point their anger at Paul, who hasn't done much since Game 1. Stefan Bondi, NBA referees don't deserve the vitriol. The job of an official is probably one of the toughest in the world. Of course, the toughness of their job is mellowed down by the lucrative compensation and the travel perks. Stefan Bondi of the New York Daily News reported how the narrative against the referees has gained more traction in this year's playoffs, with many coaches calling them out for poor officiating decisions. Celtics coach Ime Udoka ripped into the referees after the Game 3 loss to the Bucks, and he could be fined for his comments. Similarly, Grizzlies coach Jenkins was also very critical of the referees, saying that he'd never seen a more inconsistent and arrogantly officiated game. Jenkins, as expected, was fined $15,000 for his comment. As Bondi notes, the problem is much bigger, and it hasn't been helped by the NBA's decision to introduce coaches' challenges and the legalization of betting for the fans. When a fan knows that he could lose money for a free throw, he's bound to let out some frustration over the calls. At the same time, the players have also been attempting to trick the officials and complain incessantly when they're not rewarded with decisions. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Jeremy Grant to the Celtics is a good move? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.